And so into the final part of Spireites Women Focus. I hope you've enjoyed the content so far, but we've still got more to come. So on the next section, we're going to be having a look at a classic match and a little bit of a competition for you. So this was a classic 5-0 victory a couple of years ago, and we want you to identify the 4 scorers of the 5 goals. Please put them in the comments below and let's see whose memory and observation skills are absolutely spot on.
No leg. I get to move a skirt past.
What a finish!
I'm in the Chelsea, no leg. I get to move a skirt past you.
So next up is Player Spotlight, and this is a player who's been around the club for the last couple of seasons, absolutely flying in the league at minute. Player Spotlight this week is Beth Smyth. Okay, so I'm delighted to welcome onto the show Chesterfield FC women player Beth Smyth. Welcome to the show, Beth.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. And we've got absolutely tons of stuff to get through today. And so I've got some really burning questions for you. So we're going to get quite into that. But how are you finding lockdown at the minute? That's got to be tough for you guys at the minute. How have you been through that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously frustrating for all of us again. I think we were doing really well sort of in the league. We were starting to build a little bit of momentum as well at the same time in terms of building up to that big game that we all know what was. Another pause isn't ideal, but it is what it is. There's more important things happening at the moment. So I think we're all, we're keeping fit. And I think the main thing is that we're ready for when the season does hopefully continue.
Fantastic. Now, they're the football questions to start with, but I've got some other questions for you as well, because
Okay.
it's kind of, this is one of my own personal questions. This one, is it Smyth, Smythe? What is it? Because I've done some research on your surname.
It's Smyth, so I think it should have an E on the end, but it just doesn't for one reason or the other. And everybody has always said Smith, which if you ask my mum, for example, she really doesn't like. And at my graduation, they actually said Beth Smyth, which wasn't great either. That's the one moment we have. It is Beth Smyth, and everybody gets it wrong.
Well, I did a bit of research into it, but obviously it didn't give me the pronunciation. Actually, Smythe is the most, spelt as it is without the E, is one of the oldest names in Britain, and it's also like before Norman times and stuff like that. It's actually that kind of family name is one of the oldest still surviving surnames in British history. So you've got quite a reputable surname on that one. So
I had no idea on that, so thank you for that.
It's we'll put it out there. It's Smythe. Okay, fantastic stuff.
I actually remember we played at the stadium last year. Can't remember when it was, but they said sort of on the tannoy, goal by Beth Smyth, and I know my parents weren't too happy about that.
Well, we've got it out there now, so there's no excuse. We've covered that. So I suppose the second question then is, are you kind of doing some extra work on the field to give you the ability to score a goal inside the box?
I need to.
Because I think obviously.
I know what you're going to say, and I think every goal I have scored this season is outside the box.
I put in the compilation together, and I think. And it was the Grimsby goal which kind of broke the trend, because I think you had a foot inside the 18-yard box. So I think officially you scored a goal inside the box. But is that just a thing that you do? Is that just like, why is it that you think you're so successful from scoring those types of goals? Is that a confidence thing?
Quite a difficult question, I think. I mean, I probably should score a lot more in terms of the chances that I have. And especially inside the box. Of course, that should be easier than scoring from 30, 40 yards out, which seems to be the case. Obviously, from being quite a young age, I've always played football, so I've always practiced in essence. And then, of course, having a stint in America, that's something that we did quite a lot. I think just luck, really.
I wouldn't say that. So it's kind of...
The Grimsby goal was I know Steph laid it off, but it was literally just inside the box. Yeah. We're important goals, so it was fine.
It was that, yeah. And just kind of, you touched on your American career. Just tell us a bit about your history and stuff, because you spent a bit of time in this country, didn't you, playing here and there, and then you went out to America, which must have been fantastic.
Yeah, so from a young age, I played for Sheffield United, which I loved, and then went to Bowlby Carr Sports College, which is in Doncaster, which is really just a college that sort of specialises in getting people to America. Spent 2 years there, sort of playing football all day, every day, which is just a dream at that time. And then, I always had the idea of, I want to go to America. How can I do it? And luckily, I did know people who had already sort of gone on that journey, so it was quite easy to follow. And then, of course, me and my best mate, Liv, who I know that you know, she and myself both got offered to go Florida 4 years, which you just never going to turn down that opportunity.
That's the dream, isn't it?
Well, yeah, if you think, you get offered, you and your best mate, to, go across the world, play football, get a degree at the same time, and get to see all of America. That's a very that's very lucky to be able to do that.
You've caused me a headache though with that, because if I presume you caught the earlier parts of the show, when I did an interview with my own daughter, and it turned into some kind of Beth Smyth tribute kind of hour, if you like. But seriously, she takes kind of that really seriously, and she's really kind of latched on to your career and what that might mean for her, and she follows in your every footstep really, as to trying to get out there. And how do you take that? I mean, how does it kind of feel to be a role model within the club for so many people?
It's good. I also understand that because of the I've gone down a very different route to maybe sort of your average person. Not everybody's gone to do a degree in a different country. So for me, it's good to be able to answer questions, especially for the young ones. I didn't have anybody really to speak to, especially when I was younger. I always had an idea that I wanted to go, but I wasn't really sure how I did it. What would it cost? Could I actually do it? Is it a thing, or is it more of a sort of a dream scenario? So for me, it's really good to be able to now, they know that there's someone at the club that they can quiz in essence. And I'll always have time for any of them really, if they've got any questions.
Fantastic. And kind of sticking with that theme as well, I mean, how are you finding your time at Chesterfield? Because things have changed a lot over the last year or so, and the juniors are a bit more involved with the first team these days. And how have you found the club in general?
I love playing for the club, and I think everybody knows that when I did get back from America, I had a little bit of a break from football. It was very serious over there, and I think my body just needed a bit of a rest, if I'm honest. And then it was finding somewhere that I sort of agreed with where the club was going, if that makes sense. And I think everybody at Chesterfield, like we're all on the same page now. We all obviously want to get promoted. That's the goal whenever we can finish the season. Hopefully that will happen. But there's a lot of people within Chesterfield that, again, all on the same page, and we're all sort of striving for the same thing. So that's just great to be part of, really. And the junior teams, you don't really have a setup like we do at every club, especially locally. So that's something that's quite unique. And we like to involve the juniors as much as we can. Which is great for everybody, really.
Fantastic. And you say you've enjoyed your time here. What's the team like to play with? Got to dish a bit of dirty. I'm putting you on the spot, aren't I? What's it like as a team?
It's good. We're all, and I think we were talking about this a little bit earlier. We're all on the same page now, I think, and we had, myself included, we had quite a lot of new players. Which I believe we're starting to gel now. We're starting to have more of a consistent who's playing where, who does what job. And I think you can tell that as well when you do watch the games. But no, I love playing for Chesterfield, and I can't really see myself playing anywhere else.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, I've been at Chesterfield now. I probably came the same time as you, actually. And I felt the same. I think I've been there about 4 weeks when you were signed. And it was new to me, and I've worked in the women's game a long time, and I love the club. I love the ethos, I love the people involved, and it just seems to be different. And I love every minute of it. And is that kind of evident for others as well? Because that's obviously just my experience and my daughter's experience as well. But is that evident?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's evident to the players, and I think it's also evident to the people who come and watch as well. My granddad, for example, didn't watch me play till before I'd been to America. And he loves the setup, he loves the rugby club, he loves everybody there, he thinks it's a good atmosphere. So that's definitely been relayed, I think, to people sort of on the outside. And we're not your normal club that just sort of turns up on a Sunday, plays football, and everybody goes home. It is quite a community, which is really good.
Yeah, fantastic. And kind of finally on the football front, obviously I can't go through this interview without talking about that goal. That goal, which how did that feel when that went in?
I've been asked this question a few times, and I think I hit the post in the 80th minute-ish, around that time. And I thought, with all the chances that we had, and we did have way too many chances, we should have won that game by a lot more. I thought maybe it's just one of them days where it's just not happening. And she won't mind me saying this, I can remember actually screaming at Imogen saying, you know, you need to finish them, because she had the one-on-one, obviously, just moments before. And then Steph obviously laid it off, and I just hit it, and it just flew in. But I mean, that was great, because we knew how important it was to make sure that we won. But to be honest, you know, Grimsby were a really good side. I think we concentrate obviously on ourselves, and Lincoln perhaps a little bit too much. There is some other really good teams in the league.
Yeah, it was certainly a very good game. It's perhaps not so much for us kind of watching it from the bench, if you like, but it was a good game. It was a really good game to watch, and obviously that just added to it. Fantastic. So just stepping outside and kind of just coming into the last part, really. Obviously, you tell us a bit about what you do for a living, because obviously you work for our main club sponsor, PWM. Which I've had personal experience with. But tell us a bit about what you do and what they do.
So I'm a wealth management consultant for Prospera Wealth Management, who I think pretty much everybody knows now at the club. Quite hard to put in, you know, in a short term what we do, but I think you'll vouch for this, we just help people. We help people with their financial planning and all aspects of financial planning as well, which is quite important. You know, not without reeling everything off. You know, we're doing investments, your tax planning, your inheritance tax planning, your pension planning. And for us as a company, and this is why we sponsor Chesterfield, I personally find it a great way of getting involved with the kids, especially at Chesterfield, and being able to educate them within finance, because there's not enough of that in this country. Financial education is not even really a thing. So if we can help, you know, the little ones understand, you know, this is what a mortgage is. If you're going to go to university, you're going to have a loan. This is the implications of having a loan. You know, this thing that you get opted into, which is a pension. What does a pension mean? When can I touch it? Which for the little ones is ages away. So it's having that influence, which I think is important. Yes, people look up to us, all of the first team, for, you know, for what we do in terms of playing on the pitch, but it's outside. You know, how can we help? And I think that's when the club's different to a lot of other local clubs.
I think going back to kind of pre-COVID, if you like, we ran some player development centres, of which you came in, didn't you, and delivered to quite a few of the kids actually, and you were delivering some lessons before the sessions and stuff, and I think that went down incredibly well. And I think a lot of people took a lot from that, and it's key, isn't it? When we're here. I mean, particularly one of my personal stances is that we're not just here to teach football; we're here to teach life skills as well. And I think that was an absolutely essential part of doing that, and something that the club could never have done without that expertise as well. So I think and
there's a lot of great companies that are involved with Chesterfield, and I think, again, we're lucky to have everybody involved, and there's different things that we all can do. But no, for me, yes, we help people on a day-to-day basis, but if it's for the kids, really, that, you know, that's what's important. I want to be able to teach them, in essence, a lot about financial education, because, like I said, there's just none of it in this country. Which isn't great.
Absolutely, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you do. And talking about wonderful things, and the bit that I'll finish on today, obviously, while we stick on the kind of message of work and things like that and what you do for a living, we've had personal contacts, if you like, or you've had you spent a lot of time with my wife and her family. We unfortunately lost a member of our family back in April, and what I want to say publicly is, I think the work that you've done with my wife and her family has been absolutely unbelievable. And obviously you've done a lot of work on that front. and not just the services that you've offered, but I think you as a person you've been absolutely amazing, and the family thank you from the bottom of the hearts for everything that you've done for them. I think you've even been doing that this afternoon, haven't you? I think you've had a few Zoom calls today.
Yeah, I spoke to them just before you actually. But no, again, that's one, thank you for that. Obviously, we appreciate that, and that's our job. Like I said before, it's quite hard to describe what do. We just help people. I think that's sort of an example of one element of what we do. If we can make a situation a little bit less rubbish, then of course we'll do that. But no, thank you for that.
No, thank you. So that kind of brings the end of the interview then. So just want to say thank you ever so much, Beth Smyth, for all those that are listening. So just before we go today, is there anyone that you want to say? Do you want to give a shout out to?
I'll give a shout out to my granddad, because I know we watched this yesterday, I think, or Sunday when you posted it. And he watched a little bit with Helena, so I know he's waiting for this to come out. So I guess a little shout out to him.
That's fantastic. Well, thank you ever so much for your time today, Beth.
No, thank you very much. Thanks, John.
So with just one article left in the show today, we want to have a look back at our history. Now, this goes hand in hand with the fact that this month sees the 30th anniversary of the formation of the club in January 1991, and we're going to be doing a lot of work this year in regards to remembering our history and seeing exactly where we came from. So there's going to be a lot of exciting things to come in the future. Now, we'd love to hear from anybody who's played for the club over the last 30 years as we do some of our special editions in the future. But in the meantime, here's a little article I did over Christmas, and this was done on the back of taking a delivery of some of the old trophies that were won between 1991 and around 2000. I've had a look at the trophies. We're bringing them back to their old kind of to where they were, and I think this is it was a wonderful opportunity for me to explore the history, the rich history of Chesterfield FC Women, formerly Chesterfield Ladies, formerly Charlie Park Spireites. So have a look, and hopefully this is going to bring back some memories for some, and it's going to enlighten others into the history of this fantastic club. I hope you've enjoyed the show, and that's all from me. So some fantastic trophies that are currently all over my kitchen side. Some fantastic titles and some real memories on here. Particularly like this one, the Reebok World Fives 1994 Under-14s Girls UK Champions. And there's a lot of trophies from the Reebok World Fives, and you can follow quite an interesting route. You can see local tournament winners and then regional final winners, and of course obviously through to UK winners. I can't find anything that is across the world, so I'd be really interested to find out whether the girls at this particular under-14s team kind of got to play abroad for Chesterfield. I'd love to see that. But some really good stuff, and some really fantastic trophies. This is the old Sheffield Ladies Football League, and if we have a look at this, this is kind of given out and the names are inscribed on here. We can see Shirley Park, or Charlie Park as it was, Huddersfield, Inter Owls, Leeds United, and a little bit later on as it turns into Chesterfield Ladies, that's in, let's have a look, 98 to 99 and 99 to 2000, and 2000 and 2001 as well, along the likes of Rotherham United, Barnsley, Huddersfield and Leeds. Leeds obviously dominating for 5 years after that. So some really nice trophies here, but there's one in particular that's really got my interest, and it's this one. And I'm just having a look at this, and it's completely rusted over. Can't really see what's what, apart from one, And it says here, if you can't see that, it says Stockport Ladies FC 1996. So this is either a big national tournament or one of the local leagues. And I'm really intrigued to find out what's underneath that rust. So I'm going to give it a go. I've got a bit of spirit vinegar to have a pop at this, and I'm just going to give it a good clean and see if we can find out what it is and find out where Chesterfield are. I think they're hidden under this one somewhere, but I'm going to find out. So while I'm waiting for the other trophy to kind of to do its work to try and uncover some of that rust, I've come across this one which I really like. This is the Chesterfield Ladies Football Club Junior Player of the Year. And this goes from 1992 all the way through to 1998, which is absolutely fascinating. And some names on here as well. I don't know everybody, but I do recognise some of these names. Susie Lewis in 1992, the first name on there. Susanna Murdoch. Susanna, I'm sure, is somebody that I know personally. I'm pretty sure kind of in the late 90s I played five-a-side football against her, which is really, really good. Deanne Lewis, we've got Susanna Murdoch again, so obviously my connections are really, really good. Just can't quite get that to focus at the minute, that's better. Laura Roberts, we've got Sam Hill and Sarah Smith, and I believe Sarah Smith is the daughter of John Smith, who was the long-term manager of Steel City Wanderers, who were in the old Women's Premier League. And just to add on to this, I've also kind of, in conjunction with this one, I've kind of got the Senior Player of the Year. And I've got some work to do to uncover some of these shields that are rusted over now. But we can kind of make out some of these names. Ruth Raven. We've got Lorraine Clayton, Louis Thompson, Chris McCann. I would absolutely love to hear something about some of these players and whether they still follow the club and things like that. But I've also got 92, 93, 94 to uncover. Let's see what I can do there and see if I can remove some of that rust and uncover some of these fantastic names. Really difficult to see, but I've put some real elbow grease into this. I've been trying to work out what this trophy is, and you might not see it on the video. You have to get it in the right light. You can see just underneath, it's poking through. And what I've got it down to is it's the Hepworth Refractories Winners Trophy that was won by Stockport in 1996. And I'm just uncovering Chesterfield. Very difficult to focus in this close. In 1997, I think we've got names under these, but I'm pretty sure some of these other ones are all blank, so it might be that they disbanded the trophy or we never gave it back, which is another possibility. But I'm going to keep working at this one and trying to uncover as much as I can with this one, but it's really interesting. Of course, the leagues have changed quite a lot now, and this was the old combination league. Where they had the combination of different regions. So that was kind of, I would say, probably step 5 and step 6. A little bit later on, kind of the step 3 and 4s and stuff were the Women's Premier League and all that type of thing. So, but absolutely love this one. This is the Midland Women's Combination League winners in 2002 and 2003, a time when women's football there was very few teams, but there was some very big teams. You had your Sheffield Uniteds and your Leeds Uniteds and teams like that were that played some wonderful football. So it's fascinating to find some of these out. Another one that I'm really fascinated with, the Winners' Cup for the Transatlantic Ladies Football Tournament. There's no year on this, and I'm kind of hoping that it was a continuation of the Reebok kind of international football tournaments, as it seemed to be, that I don't know anything about really. But this was a Winners' Cup for a transatlantic. So this probably suggests to me that there was some kind of tournament with an American side or perhaps an American league, or a bit like the Anglo-Italian Cup in the men's game that we had throughout the 90s and things like that. So this is a winning trophy. So we've got some international honours amongst the club, which is fantastic.